Соединенные Штаты опоздали лет на 15. Они не смогут остановить развитие Китая. Это невозможно сделать, даже как вот невозможно сказать Солнцу: не вставай, оно все равно поднимется. Одно из важнейших направлений – это, конечно, высокотехнологичное на международной арене, безусловно, является одним из ключевых на правной основе, с учетом интересов друг друга. Это, я думаю, что Штатам нужно задуматься. Вот они испортили отношения с Россией, вводят постоянные санкции, и это негативно отражается на них. В конечном итоге на них-то и отражается, в том числе на долларе отражается. Весь мир задумался, стоит ли использовать доллар, если Соединенные Штаты по политическим соображениям ограничивают использование доллара в качестве универсальной международной расчетной единицы. Продукция промышленности, больше мы просто работаем в интересах друг друга. Сейчас мы очень активно работаем в сфере энергетики, это хорошо известно, и это направление мы, безусловно, будем развивать. Мы работаем над созданием 2 блоков на атомных электростанциях в Китае. Мы поставляем большое количество энергоресурсов, и нефти, и газа, и будем расширять это сотрудничество. Я уже говорил, что и для нас это полезно, и для наших китайских друзей очень надежный источник, потому что он никак не подвержен никаким влияниям со стороны. И это такая базовая вещь. Задумались об этом. И объем использования по поводу армии. Вы знаете, там, Японию, Австралию, Новую Зеландию. Это противоборство технологий. НАТО воюет с нами, но руками украинских солдат. Украина не жалеет своих солдат в интересах третьих государств. Но Украина не использует сама то, что когда-то и кто-то говорил о необходимости нанести России стратегическое поражение, обеспечить победу над Россией на поле боя. Они сами уже убедились в том, что это невозможно, это нереалистично. И поменяли свою точку зрения. Украинская сторона вообще декрет президента Украины, запрещающий вести с нами переговоры. Декрет-то действует. Пусть для начала отменит хотя бы этот декрет. Это же смешно даже говорить. Все призывают нас вести переговоры, а то, что украинская сторона запретила сама себе вести переговоры, на это что, никто не обращает внимания? Что? Мы познакомились с предложениями Китая и Бразилии только после того, как они появились публично. Я могу вам сказать, что повторить еще раз. Мне кажется, что это хорошая база для того, чтобы предпринять попытки к поиску мира. Становится не просто одной из самых высокотехнологичных, но и самых быстрых. И соответствующая группа в Нью-Йорке создана. Это 2. Это все или что-то еще, вы спрашиваете?
But, Mr. President, my question is a contradictory one. Was meeting with a number of his counterparts.
Мы всегда исходили из того, что должна быть реализована резолюция Совета Безопасности, решение Совета Безопасности об образовании 2 государств, Израиля и палестинского государства. В этом корень всех проблем, и уверен, что мы должны будем об этом поговорить на саммите БРИКС.
Изменилось по отношению к Украине, если раньше говорили к нам отнеслась очень бережно и заботливо, и
фундаментальные, основные интересы палестинцев, проживающих
от всех нас за вашу искренность.
Back with a Fox News alert, Israel striking Beirut just hours after an apparent assassination attempt on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The attempt on Netanyahu's life coming by way of a drone attack. Matt Finn joins us live from Tel Aviv this morning with more. Matt.
Good morning, Will. To the north of where I am right now in Tel Aviv, Israel says there was a drone strike launched at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's vacation home. Israel says the drone was launched from Lebanon into Caesarea. It did not hit Netanyahu's house. One Israeli official claims the drone strike was meant to eliminate Netanyahu. It was more than one of 100 drones launched from Lebanon into northern Israel today. Our Fox crew has seen some of them. Netanyahu released a video a short while ago responding to Israel's monumental elimination this week of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar.
2 days ago, we took out Yahya Sinwar, the terrorist mastermind whose goons beheaded our men, raped our women, burnt babies alive. We took him out, and we're continuing our battle with Iran's other terrorist proxies. We're going to win this war.
Now, check out this new drone video that shows the final moments of Sinwar's life this week. He's camouflaged amongst the rubble in the chair on the left. Sinwar was considered the de facto leader of Hamas, perhaps enemy number one of Israel, the mastermind of October 7th. His death has sparked speculation that perhaps Hamas will disarm. However, Hamas says Sinwar's death will not stop it, writing in part, "Yes, it's very painful and distressing to lose beloved people, especially extraordinary leaders like ours, but what we are sure of is that we are eventually victorious." So chilling words there. And just to kind of set the scene for you here in Israel, this was a holy week, Sukkot. Many people were not working, not on their electronics, meant to be meditating and praying. So you can only imagine that this monumental news of Sinwar's death was that much more welcome during an already somber week.
I do want to take you back to this breaking news as we are getting a first look at what appears to be an assassination attempt by Hezbollah on Israel's Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. Axios reporting that Netanyahu's home in the coastal town of Caesarea was hit by an explosive drone launched from Lebanon by the terror group just days after Israel killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. This photo right here posted on social media by Dr. Eli David, a well-known researcher and lecturer. David says this is from one of Iran's official Telegram channels showing the direct hit on Netanyahu's home. Now, we are told that Netanyahu and his wife were not there at the time. He does say that they are taking pride in that attempt, and they asked if the Iran Supreme Leader does have similar bulletproof windows. Mark Chandler is the Director of Government Relations and Professor of Practice at Coastal Carolina University, also a former senior defense intelligence official. Joining us now live to talk more about this. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to be here with us today.
You're welcome, Josh, and good morning.
Good morning. Well, first off, I do want to get your take here on this assassination attempt. We did see the photos there coming in from Dr. Eli David, and they show the home was actually hit directly. So what are your overall thoughts as you start to get this information and see those photos?
Well, this is a significant move by Hezbollah. When we look at this, and obviously Iran was behind this push to get Hezbollah to attempt this assassination, to do this assassination attempt. Actually, the one that hit was one of three that Hezbollah launched against Netanyahu's home earlier this morning to go after him. And so what I think you're seeing is an escalation, probably twofold. We're talking a little bit about Nasrallah, but we're also talking about response to Sinwar's killing earlier this week that Israel was fortunate enough to be able to take care of Sinwar. This is an escalation. And so when I look at this and I go to see really what Hezbollah has been doing all week, Israel's going to have to respond to this. This is not the first time that Iran or Hezbollah has gone out there and plotted an assassination attempt against Netanyahu himself or senior Israeli leadership since the start of the Hamas war.
And I was going to ask, how common are these assassination attempts against Netanyahu? We know that they do have enemies there. This is probably not the first time this has happened.
No, if we go back over the last 12 months, I think this is about the third direct assassination attempt or plot against Netanyahu and his the other leaders of the Israeli war cabinet, if you will. So looking at this one, this actually, if Netanyahu had been at home, would have been close to a successful attempt, a direct attack. The others were interrupted in the final planning stages. Mossad and Shin Bet both interrupted some of those plots where they had actually Israeli citizens compromised, one through Turkey and one inside Israel, that were plotting to help Iran and Hezbollah assassinate Netanyahu himself. So it's not uncommon. It's a little bit disconcerting that they were able to get this far along in the plot this time and the attempt.
And it appears that we are seeing more and more of these drones and projectiles that are actually making their way into Israel. This morning, we heard from the IDF, and they said over essentially a 24-hour period, there were about 180 projectiles, not just fired by Hezbollah, but that actually made their way from Lebanon into Israeli territory. So it seems like the attacks are being stepped up even further, especially after the death of Sinwar.
Yeah, I believe you're right there, Josh. And when we look at this week, Hezbollah has been attacking northern Israel and as far down as southern Israel all week long. Early in the week, I believe it was Sunday, Monday, Israel suffered the worst attack on Israel from Hezbollah since the start of this fighting back in last October. And when I say that, 4 Israeli soldiers were killed, 60 wounded in an attack on an Israeli military base in central Israel earlier this week. And so looking at that aspect, and then we start to see how this is playing out, we're going to see more of these attacks. And the point here is that we can see Hezbollah having more success with the UAVs, these drones. It's hard for Israel to defend against those. The Iron Dome and the defenses don't work as well against some of those drones that Hezbollah and Iran are using. So we're going to see more of those successful attacks from that until Israel can solve that problem. Or we're going to see overwhelming missile and rocket fire coming out of southern Lebanon.
And this is actually a post here coming in from Eylon Levy. He is the Israeli government spokesperson and says it looks like Hezbollah might have tried to assassinate Netanyahu. An Iranian drone from Lebanon hit a building there, and the prime minister's office did confirm that his private residence was the target. They were not home at the time. Now, I do know that Netanyahu does have several different residences there in Israel. We've seen some protests that have taken place outside of one of his residences. Any idea why Hezbollah would have targeted this one specifically? Again, a lot of this information is still coming in, so I'm sure that answer isn't necessarily known, but I wanted to get your take on that.
Well, I would look at this. I think this is more of Netanyahu's traditional home, where he basically is from this area of Israel. So I think looking at that, targeting this, one, hoping that he would be there. It probably wasn't likely that he would be there at this time, but hoping that he would be there. But this sends a message. We know where you are, Netanyahu. We know that we can attack your house. And so nowhere is really safe for you, especially if I'm going to go after, this house where your family should be located. I think that's a strong message from Hezbollah. And I think you're going to have to see Israel respond to that in a strong manner later today, most likely, because Israel does take these attacks seriously, and they try to counterattack quickly when they know the origin from, say, where they launched these UAVs or drones.